So, you've landed in Japan and you're ready to eat all the sushi. You sit down at a sushi restaurant feeling confident. And then you realize, wait, which sushi should I order first? Am I allowed to pick plates off the conveyor belt? Did I just offend the sushi chef by dipping my sushi in too much soy sauce? Don't worry, I've got you. Hi everyone, it's Abby from Pictour and I'm a photographer and guide in Japan. You can find more about what I have to offer right here. And today we are diving into the world of sushi. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I promise it really does help me out and it means a lot. Just a quick note, this is a beginner-friendly guide for foreign travelers and is not a deep dive, and I will not be diving into vinegar differences or aging the fish or hand temperature. If you're a sushi expert, that's great. But let's leave the comments helpful so that more people can enjoy sushi. All right, let's roll, literally. Sushi is not just slices of fish on rice. There are actually a lot of different styles. Let's break it down. First up, you have nigiri, which is the classic. Nigiri is a small, delicate bed of vinegared rice topped with a piece of raw fish or another topping. It's simple and elegant, and it highlights the natural flavors of the fish. When you eat nigiri, you're gonna wanna dip it in soy sauce, fish side down. Don't drown it. And you also will not really want to dip the rice, as the rice will fall apart and scatter sadly into your soy sauce. By the way, yes, you can eat sushi with your hands. You can pick it up and flip it over if using chopsticks is a little too much for you to deal with. You're gonna eat the sushi in one bite, and then between different bites of sushi, you can enjoy gari, which is pickled ginger, and it's supposed to help refresh your palate. Also, some people talk about whether or not you should mix wasabi in your little bowl of soy sauce. If you go to a conveyor belt sushi restaurant, chain restaurant, I think it's perfectly fine to mix some wasabi with your soy sauce. But if you go to a counter restaurant, the chef should have already added an appropriate amount of wasabi. So maybe don't do that there. All right, the next type of sushi we're going to talk about is the gunkan. Gunkan literally means battleship. So these little pieces of sushi kind of represent a battleship, as they have rice wrapped in seaweed or nori, and then with something on top of it. Popular toppings include uni, which is sea urchin and is very rich and creamy, ikura or salmon roe, and negitoro, which is chopped fatty tuna and is very soft and melt in your mouth, and I really love negitoro. So of course, instead of dipping these awkwardly into the soy sauce, you can just lightly pour soy sauce over the top of them, and don't be like me sometimes and really drown your battleship. Next up is the maki. So maki is what most people outside of Japan tend to think of as sushi. It is a sushi roll. You'll find a pretty big variety of these here, although not as big a variety as you'll find in a lot of Western countries, where maki is more the trendy type of sushi. Maki here are typically more simple. They have ingredients inside like cucumber or tuna or salmon or any kind of pickles. But sometimes you can find more extravagant ones here, especially at chain restaurants such as California rolls and other types of fun rolls that definitely have no cream cheese. Also, you will want to eat these in one bite. If you've eaten sushi before, you know that it will just awkwardly crumble onto the table. And of course, there's a few cousins of sushi as well. For example, chirashi sushi. Chirashi sushi is kind of like a sushi roll but in a bowl. So it's vinegared rice topped with fresh seafood and vegetables. It's often eaten on special occasions like Hina Matsuri, which is Girls' Day, and is also just a general comfort food. Another cousin to sushi is temari sushi. Temari sushi is a small, round, bite-sized little sushi that is made by pressing the sushi ingredients into a spherical shape, and it's often decorated quite beautifully. Originally it's from Kyoto, but recently it's become more popular throughout Japan because of how cute and Instagrammable it is. The last cousin I'm going to mention is oshi sushi, which is pressed sushi. Oshi sushi is sushi that has been compressed in a mold down into a flattened state, and it is often very strong and vinegary and pungent, and usually uses fish like mackerel or salmon, and is kind of an acquired taste. But if you're in certain areas of Japan, it is fun and it is worth trying to test your Japan level. So let's talk about what we have deemed the Japan level. This is a concept that we have come up with in order to explain how adapted you are to traditional Japanese flavors. Anyone that has spent a decent period of time in Japan has probably had an experience where a friend or coworker or someone recommended a Japanese food and you went to try it and your brain short-circuited trying to find a way to say, I highly respect your culture, but I am suffering. Looking at you, Nato, that was a hard one to get used to. So that is the test of your Japan level. A first-time visitor to Japan and someone who grew up in Japan or grew up eating authentic Japanese food will have different adaptation levels, leading to differences in what kinds of foods they find to be delicious. Especially the types of raw fish that I certainly know they're not offering at my local sushi joint back in the States. So while there may be types of, say, ramen that you have not tried before you came to Japan, usually these cooking methods and ingredients are going to be a lot more familiar. So it's easier to come here and try them and find them delicious. To put it simply, just how as we get older and we encounter more types of foods and we eat those foods more, we'll learn to like different things. It's the same thing with Japanese food. So a lot of people that come to Japan for the first time who have not encountered these different types of foods are going to be more at the level of a Japanese child. I know I was, and will find certain things a little bit unpleasant at first. So the scale that we've come up with is from 1 to 5, with 1 being pleasant and tolerable to just about anyone, and 5 being about as niche or peculiar as you could get here. All right, quick intermission. I have this. Do you know what this is? This is a daruma. So when you get a daruma, you fill in one of the eyes, and then you make a wish. And then when your wish comes true, you fill in the other eye. So I made my wish for 10,000 subscribers. And you guys really carried through with that one. Yay! Finally, he can see. So now I have to buy another one because we gotta go bigger than 10K. So if you want to ease into sushi, let's talk about some beginner-friendly, creative sushis before we level up. Our Japan level 1 sushis are going to have no raw fish. They're all gonna be pretty easy to eat, and they're pretty much gonna be things that everyone secretly loves. First up, we have tamago sushi. This is sweet omelet sushi, and eat it for dessert or just whenever you want. Next up is corn mayo gunkan. It is creamy and comforting. It is corn and mayonnaise. Next up is tuna mayo gunkan. This is the classic Japanese mayo combo, often served in rice ball style. Next up is hamburger sushi. Yes, it is a tiny burger on rice. It is so stupid, but it's good. And these not fish type sushis are definitely going to be served at some of the big 4 conveyor belt chains that we're going to talk about later. Any Japanese people watching this right now are probably going to be like, where's the fish? But for viewers with little sushi experience, I do recommend starting with these more creative sushi. Some people might argue, oh, it's not real sushi, but it is a great place to start to get into your sushi journey. If you like those level 1 sushi or you're ready just to move on to something else, let's go to the level 2 recommendations I have. This is gonna be fish with more familiar flavors, and typically it's not gonna be raw. So first up we have salmon cheese seared sushi. This is torch salmon plus cheese and it equals heaven. Next up we have shrimp avocado sushi. This is Western style creamy goodness, and avocado lovers, this is the ultimate combo of cooked shrimp, avocado, and soy sauce. Please trust me on this. Next up we have salmon and onion sushi, and this is literally salmon, onion, and mayonnaise, and quite frankly it's God's gift to man, and both of us can recommend it. You also have things like ebi, which is cooked shrimp sushi, and this is boiled shrimp, and it is lightly sweet, and it is very, very different than raw shrimp sushi, which took me 2 years to finally love and appreciate. And of course you have tempura sushis, which can be fried, tempura, anything on rice. These are crunchy and delicious, and they're also suitable for people who do not eat seafood in the first place. All right, so once you're ready to enter the realm of eating raw fish, you might wonder, is it safe? Question mark? And the answer is yes. Japan has extremely high standards for food safety, especially when it comes to something as ubiquitous as sushi. sushi is scientifically treated in order to minimize the risk, such as freezing it at -20 for 24 hours to kill parasites. Salt and vinegar treatments help sterilize fish, and UV sterilization and ozone water are used in many restaurants. Also, fun fact, the chance of getting food poisoning from sushi here is actually lower than your risk of getting involved in a non-fatal commercial plane accident, the chance of which is around 1 in 260,000. And yet, you're still coming here. You've taken bigger risks in life. All right, so depending on your budget or your sushi comfort level, you have a variety of different options in order to enjoy sushi. Your main choices are gonna first be deciding between conveyor belt sushi and counter sushi. If you're new to sushi or just looking for a casual, budget-friendly sushi experience, conveyor belt sushi, known as kaiten sushi here, is a fabulous choice. It's affordable, it's easy to order, and it offers a variety of creative sushi and beginner-friendly sushi. These chains are very popular with Japanese people who also take their whole families, so you know that they're gonna have a lot of different options to suit all different kinds of tastes. It's also great for someone who wants to try a lot of different types of sushi without completely breaking the bank. There are 4 big conveyor belt sushi chain restaurants. First is Sushiro, which is well known for its high quality fresh ingredients and a large amount of variety. Second is Kurazushi, which is the place that is most well known for its gacha prize game. Next is Hamazushi, which is known for its extensive menu and its delicious side dishes. And Kappazushi, which used to just be well known for being super cheap, but is recently trying to focus on quality. What about taking stuff from the conveyor belt? Well, if the food comes straight to the table and stops, yes, of course. At most chain restaurants, you can take whatever you want off the belt, but rarely the food might be labeled and you can only take what's yours. So if you're unsure, I recommend just asking. All of these chains are great, but if you are a serious sushi lover or want to experience authentic, high-quality sushi, then a counter sushi restaurant might be better fitted for you, especially one that has omakase, which is when the chef selects the sushi for you. Here, the fish is often fresher, seasonal, and of course it's cut with expert precision. And you get to interact with the sushi chef, ask them any questions, and often get a selection of sushi that is prepared in the best order. This is a great experience for food enthusiasts, special occasions, and anyone who just wants to know what high quality Japanese sushi is. If you've been to Japan once or twice, or you're just ready to level up your sushi game, giving counter sushi a chance is worth a try. Of course, counter sushi restaurants are going to be a lot more expensive than conveyor belt sushi chains. So while I'd say that at one of the big 4, you'll probably spend around $10 to $15 a person, at one of the mid-tier places I'm going to talk about in just a minute, you'll probably spend around $30 to $50 a person. At any kind of authentic counter sushi shop, you're probably going to be starting price around $100 US per person. So if you want something mid-range, not quite big 4 conveyor belt sushi chains, and not quite starting price $100 US a person, I have some recommendations for you. Check out places like Mori Mori Sushi, Ginza Onodera. Also, if you are in Kyoto, I highly recommend Sushi Musashi. And in Osaka, Daiki Suisan. These places have a really good balance of price and quality, and they usually, unlike the big 4 that just typically have a robot back in the kitchen, they actually have real sushi chefs doing work. All right, let's talk about 3 big tips that will help you enjoy sushi like a pro. First, have you ever wondered if the order that you eat the sushi matters? Technically, no one will stop you from eating the tamago dessert sushi first and natto rolls last. But if you want to maximize the flavors and enjoy sushi the traditional way, here is the best order to follow and why. First, you're going to start with the light white fish. These are going to be mild and delicate, and these fish have subtle flavors that get overpowered if you eat stronger fish first. Then, if you have a high enough Japan level, you can move to silver skinned and vinegared fish. These are gonna be bright and refreshing. They're gonna have a slightly stronger taste, and often they're gonna be marinated in vinegar, but the acidity is said to help cleanse your palate before you start moving on to richer or fattier fish. Next up, we have red fish that are gonna be lean, but they're still gonna be umami rich. Fish like tuna and bonito have more pronounced flavors, and this makes them a great transition to fattier sushi. Finally, next is my favorite section, and that is the fattier fish like otoro and salmon. The fat coats your tongue when you eat these, so eating them earlier would make lighter sushi taste bland. Also, one of my favorite sushi types is hamachi, or yellowtail. And you can eat it around this time, either before or after you enjoy the fattier fish. Next up will be shellfish, and those with chewy textures. The slightly chewy, sweet flavors of things like scallops or squid or boiled shrimp will provide a nice contrast after all the buttery fish you just ate. I'd also recommend getting these things boiled if you're still a beginner. I know boiled shrimp seems kind of simple, but it is so delicious as sushi. Next, you're gonna bring in your strong and your bold flavored fish. Things like sea urchin and unagi have intense lingering flavors, and they are best saved for last so they don't overpower the rest of your sushi. Also, when you order eel sushi, either unagi or anago, you'll often want to put a special sauce on it that's not just soy sauce. You'll want to put the sweet sauce on it. So it'll usually say something like sweet sauce, or it'll just look like this. Next up will be the maki rolls. These are cleansing and these are filling if you have not eaten enough already. You can use these to help reset your palate with rice and nori, and then you can finish with the dessert sushi, such as tamago/egg or inari sushi. Inari sushi is a sweet vinegared rice inside a sweet and salty tofu pocket. So why does this order matter? Because if you told me this a few years ago, I might have just thought you were crazy. It avoids overwhelming your palate. I love salmon, but sometimes starting with salmon just kind of makes everything else taste a little less exciting than it. And it creates the flavor buildup. So by enjoying these more soft, simple fish first, I get to work up to the salmon, and by the time I eat the salmon, I'm like, thank you. Thank you for making salmon. But I still got to enjoy everything on the journey up to the salmon. Of course, there are no strict rules to this. Don't quote me as saying you must eat fish in a certain order, because of course it's never that serious. A lot of the times I start with salmon and I end with salmon, and they haven't deported me yet. But when I have tried eating in this order, I know it sounds crazy, but it will take your experience to a whole nother level. The second tip to enjoy your sushi like a pro is to enjoy it with hot green tea. If you've eaten sushi in Japan, you've probably noticed that they did not want to give you water and they just gave you green tea. And that's actually for a reason. It's said to enhance the whole experience. The tannins in green tea are said to help cleanse your palate, washes away some of the oils from fish. It's said to help with digestion, and it also balances the coolness of the fish, as well as also having mild antibacterial properties. So most sushi restaurants will serve what's called agari, which is a strong green tea, kind of like sencha or bancha. But some places will serve other teas like genmaicha or hojicha for a nuttier flavor. And if you really just want water, you're gonna usually have to just get up and go to the self-service water area, which is usually labeled with either water or a character that looks like this. The last tip is to match your sushi with some alcohol. So when you pair sushi with alcohol, the goal is to keep it light and refreshing so that your alcohol does not overpower the flavors of the fish. If you're drinking sake, you might want to go for a light and crisp ginjo sake while you enjoy whitefish or tuna, since it helps enhance their subtle umami. For fattier sushi like salmon, a drier sake is said to help cut through the richness. And if you're not into sake in the first place, even beer or white wine or whiskey highballs also complement sushi well. Also, just remember that the goal is to keep the alcohol light and crisp so that the sushi remains the star of the show. So there's no right or wrong way to eat sushi, but I hope this video has helped you think about some ways to maybe enjoy it even more than before. Now, go forth and eat sushi. See you in the next video. Bye!